Hey everybody, this is Perch. Okay, let's get to this mail. When things are so obviously bad. All right, I'm a game for this. Where's it going to go? It says, "Hello Perch. Recently, I saw your video about a show. You probably already know what I'm referring to without me having to say it. You're talking about Velma. But in the video, you mentioned it was so obviously bad to the point where it was clear most people didn't care for it. You also mentioned at some point in there that most people would lose interest pretty fast. And that line got me wondering. While I believe you're probably right in that regard, I also wonder if all the outrage videos are doing more harm in the long run by keeping these shows alive in people's minds when it was more likely we'd all just forget. Does an obviously bad show like this even need a review? It's not like I don't like hearing people's thoughts as to why things are bad or how they can be improved, but some things really do seem like a bad idea from the word go, and that they're actually getting more attention from the people who claim to be fighting this kind of thing. I honestly don't even remember if this is coming out until YouTube started recommending me videos with people with obvious thumbnails about why an obviously bad show is obviously bad. I think I mentioned it in the video, but you're correct. I mean, look, Velma as a show, for example, as I mentioned in the video title, no expectations were subverted. There are lots of people, and I saw a couple. I saw the thumbnails, and I clicked on one of them. And my God, is this what a lot of these sound like? I don't listen to a lot of the outrage shows. This guy's like hysterical, like I can't believe, like Jesus, man, you calm the fuck down. I'm sorry. No, no, no. Velma as a show, it was painfully clear. You could tell from the poster. You could tell from the first trailer. You could tell from the first 10 seconds of the trailer exactly what it was going to be. That's not saying, hey, that makes it okay. They should make all kinds of shows like this. It means you, of all the things in the world, you cannot be surprised that the show turned out to be exactly what it promised it was going to be, which was terrible. But these, these, can you believe they're doing this? Yes. Yes, I can believe it. I can believe it because I watched the preview and it sucked. When I watched the actual show, I was having this conversation with my wife. I'm like, Mrs. Perch, I'm like, was the show worse than you thought? And her being kind of wiser and faster than me, is like, no, the show was exactly what I thought. The show was exactly what I knew it was going to be. It was exactly. I mean, from the very beginning with the little cockroaches humping. I mean, it was designed to be exactly what it was. And then she's like, I can't believe that you sat through the whole thing. And I'm like, well, you sat through it too. She's like, oh, I was answering emails on my phone. Trust me. Like, I could still hear it. It was still terrible. I'm like, and you get proven right by your wife. Anyway, back to the mail. It says, for the last few years, it seems like we've had an endless amount of videos from many YouTubers like me. I won't name anyone, pointing out why this show is bad or why this movie will be bad when it's just so clear why it will be. Does anyone have any real faith in new sequel to ancient movie franchise starring aging actor way too old to play the role? Ah, yes, the Indiana Jones movie. I often see the justification being that they're watching it so we don't have to. But did we ever have to? That's an awesome line. No, no, you don't. That is a bullshit line too, by the way. I've seen some of the big, really big channels, kind of the outrage channels, like I'm doing this for you. Oh, bullshit! You are not. You're doing this because you know that other people are watching it too. The show is obviously bad. You're hoping to get some zingers and one-liners in there, and then people can go, I want to see a roast. It's like when I used to watch Nurkish. I like Nurkish. He was a king of roast, and he was funny. I hear he's less funny now. I don't know. I haven't seen Nurkish in like 3 years. But I used to love it. Like, he would review Faith. You knew exactly what he was going to say. It's like, Nurkish is reviewing the super heavy female superhero comic. Yeah. I mean, pretty sure I know exactly what that video is gonna be like. And he delivered. He was funny. He roasted wonderfully. But thankfully he never put in that line like, I'm doing this so you don't have to watch it. I'm doing this as a favor to you. Oh, no, you are not. No, just stop with that shit. Anyway, back to the mail. I just can't help but shake the feeling that the best thing to do for everyone would be just to forget about it entirely, but it's hard to do so when people keep looking to ride the wave of geek culture controversy, keep pointing at things that we'd all be best forgotten. would all be best forgotten. I'm sure someone in your shoes has seen all kind of idiotic stuff in comics and spin up a few yards about dumb crap that we all forgot about and would be happier to stay forgetting about it. I'm just really tired of seeing the fans talk about stuff they clearly aren't going to like when they could just as easily be reminded us about good stuff we've forgotten about or have missed the first time, be it an underrated comic, a cult classic movie, or just stuff people don't seem to bring up anymore. Just a thought I had. Thanks for reading. Fair enough. No, there's nothing, no lies detected. Look, but I'll say this: it doesn't have to be positive. Meaning it's not like we have to choose between a world of hyper negativity or roasting something, or something positive. There's a lot of other topics like all the bullshit I talk about. I mean, you could talk about anything you want. It doesn't have to swing between those two dynamics, because sometimes the, hey, this is great, you should like this, also feels performative. Right now, there is the Wonder Woman Historia series by Kelly Sue DeConnick. It's awful. I'm sorry. The art is beautiful. Let me rephrase. Some of the art is really pretty. It looks really nice. The story is fucking terrible. And yet, for whatever reason, the comic industry is like, well, we've been shitting on Kelly Sue for a long time. Feel kind of bad that she burned every bridge behind her in her pursuit of going big in Hollywood, and then that never materialized. And she drug her husband with her, and now what has she got? So hey, let's compliment this comic. The comic is awful. Again, art beautiful. The story writing, try it for yourself. If you're under the illusion that this is a good comic, read just the dialogue and completely ignore the art, and you will quickly come to realize that is a terrible book. But anyway, there's a lot of videos out there like, this is the best Wonder Woman story ever told. Let me endless fawning praise, which is as insincere and pointless as the outrage videos. It's all stupid. I absolutely get exhausted. I can absolutely see complaining about something, and I've done it many times. It's fun to complain. It's fun to vent. It's fun to get things off your chest. But I do think there's a big difference between complaining about, say, Iron Man 2020. I complained about that. Here's a storyline that in theory has been built up for decades, and we're going to pay it off, and we're going to have a big, kind of this big event that's going to happen from that. Now, you could argue that, hey, Dan Slott was attached to it, so, it's bound to be shitty, but, Dan Slott wrote a good She-Hulk series, no matter what, people say. It was good. It was a solid series, and I am not a big hater of Dan Slott's Spider-Man run. A lot of people came into the shop to buy Superior Spider-Man, even though it did have that weird scene where Doc Ock and Peter's body basically had sex with Mary Jane, and that was creepy and wrong. But anyway, there were some good stories in there, no doubt about it. Could have gone either way. There's a big difference between Man 2020 and roasting it because it was a terrible story, and something like Velma, where there was no illusion or hope or promise or potential that was going to be anything other than a colossal dumpster fire at all. Now, again, if you could put out an entertaining video roasting something like that, more power to you. Nothing wrong with that. Go for it. But there is a big difference between the two. And I do think, I said it in the other video, we do extend the life of these things by going all in on it. The reality is, by the outrage and hate of Velma, and guaranteed in season 2, and yes, it's been renewed for a season 2, they will do the marketing of the show the internet didn't want you to watch, the show that everyone hated, the show that generated outrage from those people. That is exactly the marketing they're going to roll with for Velma season 2. And you are correct. If everybody had been like, well, that looks like shit, so I'm not going to watch it, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm going to ignore it because it looks like shit. There have been plenty of comics, and look, there's stuff at Marvel and DC, the big two today, that nobody is reading. Not a lot of people did video commentary on the uncancelable Wasp. That comic was awful.
if you read it, it was a bad comic. There's, people kind of knew it was bad for whatever reason. The writer wasn't a lunatic on Twitter. I don't know. People didn't go all in on it to complain, but it sucked and it was ignored and it lived a very short life and was canceled. That's typically how it works. Sometimes the life gets extended if it gets attention, because for whatever dumbass reason, people do prescribe to the Eric Bischoff controversy is cash mentality, which, again, there's very little proof that's true, but there you have it. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail. If you have a different opinion, and you might, and you probably do, let me know in the comments below, and thanks for listening.